All right, so in the last video, we looked how to determine the Pearson product moment correlation coefficient to determine if there's a strong linear relationship. And if that value is high enough, so if it's above 0.7 or so, then that's high enough to indicate that there is a strong linear relationship. And then in that case, we can find the line of best fit. And that's the regression line for y on x. So we're going to do a hand calculation. And then we've already looked once at how to use our GDC to do it, but we're going to look at that some more in the next video. And we're also going to talk about using our regression line for prediction purposes. So if there's a strong linear correlation, so this is a big if, we have to have an R value that's big enough before we calculate this, because otherwise, if our R value is not big enough, then there's no reason to draw the line of best fit. This is very important if you're doing your IA on this. You have to have a strong R value to do this. So R must indicate the need. For line of best fit. But if your R is big enough, then here's how we do it by hand. First, we calculate the mean of each of these data sets. So I'm going to add a column here for mean, and I'm going to put the mean of both of these values, and I'm going to use my calculator to do that. So remember, we already used our calculator to draw it, so that means that we already have our data in our stat lists. So to find the mean, I can find the mean of both of those at once by doing stat, calc, and this time two varstats, because I have two different variables. I have age and I have money. So list 1, list 2, there is no frequency. All right, so I see that my mean age is 9, and if I scroll down, actually I don't even need to scroll down, my mean income, or my mean cost, 13,340. So 9, 13,340. Okay. So then I'm going to plot the mean point, and I'm going to plot all my other points. So plot mean, point, and others. All right, so let's go down and plot our points. And I'm going to plot my mean point in a different color. So I'm going to use black for my regular points. And so we had money over here. I had age down here. So, all right, 3, 10, 7, and then 6, 11, 7, and then 9, 12, 60. So there's 12,600. 12, 1,500 is here. And then this one looks like it's too high. Both of those are too high. Let's move those down a bit. Okay. And then 16,700. So about here. I'm going to plot my mean point in blue. 9, 13,340. So 9, and then 10, 11, 12, 13, 340 is going to be about there. So now I'm going to use a ruler, and this is the part that you guys are going to have to do by hand because I don't have a ruler on here, and you know how hard it's been for me to draw straight lines. So you need to draw a straight line, and you have to go through the mean, and you're trying to get an equal number of points above and below your line. So it looks to me that if I draw my straight line, I'll have those 2 points below, and I'm going to have these 2 points above, something like this. Boy, that is terrible, terrible, terrible. Something like that, use a ruler, and you have to go through the mean. Okay, so we want about half below, half above. And so if I'm looking at this by hand, then I can try and calculate the slope by hand and calculate my y-intercept. So it looks to me on my picture, and this is because it's scaled so big, it's hard for me to tell, but it looks to me like my y-intercept is about, I'm going to go with 9,000. And then my slope, remember slope is rise over run. So my slope, boy, I wish I had a straight line. So here's my mean point of 9, 13, 340. If I pick another point like this one, so this one would be the point 11, 12. So that's the point 5, 1200. So it looks to me like I go over 9, sorry, over from 5 to 9. So that's over 4 total. And then I go from 1200 up to 13,340. So that means I went up 1,340 and I went over by 5 to 9, I went over by 4. So after we draw it, we can determine our line of best fit. So remember the equation of a line is slope times x plus b, which is the y-intercept. So my line of best fit is 1340 divided by 4x, because that was my slope, rise over run, plus my y-intercept of 9,000. All right, so that's how we would determine it by hand. And it's okay if it's not exactly correct. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Oops, I don't know how I did that. What matters is that you're using your picture, and hopefully your picture is better than mine because you've used a ruler. So that is drawing it by hand and calculating by hand.